Obsessed Media, here we are 1 year later. Not necessarily to the date, but you've got about 11 and a half, 12 months worth of work under your belt. So, how are things going and what's changed in that year for you and Barry Dan?
Yeah, I mean, it both feels like yesterday and 5 years later. Um, like it feels like a lifetime, and I've learned so much. A lot of this is like you learn a lot about yourself,
Mhm.
and you learn what when you start a company and when we co-founded the company, we had expectations of how we thought it was going to go from a best case scenario and how we thought it was going to go from a not so best case scenario. And I think this has exceeded our biggest expectations in this first year. Honestly, we've been able to work with a variety of awesome brands, awesome client partners, work with a lot of different media partners to help elevate those brands, bring on some staff, which honestly wasn't necessarily something Barry and I were expecting to do so quickly, but it was just the demand that we saw and the clients that we worked with. We wanted to bring more people into the fold and bolster the team. Um, so it's been a crazy ride, if I'm being totally honest. And when I say I've learned a lot about myself, I went into this having expectations, but until you're really in it, you don't know how you're going to respond to it. And both positively, but also things that I think I needed to adjust on my end. Like I said before, I have a 2 year old at home. That's a volatile experience. She's the best. She's the my favorite thing in the world. But also, she terrible twos is a thing.
Mhm.
Just adjusting to the lifestyle of a founder where you want to be on the clock all the time, you want to be working hard all the time, you want to be servicing your clients, but you still have a family at home, you still have hobbies, you still have friends, and like how do you balance those things? And that was something that was an interesting adjustment too. But for the most part, this has been an unbelievable experience. Still feels like we're just getting started, and um, I'm really proud of the progress and the success we've had so far.
So, we'd say time management was a big thing that you had to, I guess, grapple with or learn about yourself.
Yeah, and time management for me too. Like we named the company Obsessed for a reason. I go so deep in so many different areas of media, whether it be in the actual work, whether it be reading about the industry, whether it be reading about other things that I think are just going to inspire me about the industry. But I wanted to take it up a notch when I founded this company. And I think that would be natural to anyone when it's finally your name on the door and when it's finally your product that you want to put out in the world, you don't want to leave anything on the field. You want to make sure that you put your best foot forward. Um, so managing even more time towards my career was just something that definitely I had to wrap my head around. But it's something that I feel like I'm getting in a groove now, for sure.
Don't forget to add in not just reading about the industry, but writing about it.
Sure.
I plug your LinkedIn to anyone. I said you've got to
Thank you.
look up. You got to look up Danny Weisman from Obsessed Media. If he doesn't connect with you, just follow him because his posts are great.
I hope you plug that to LinkedIn because the algorithm keeps pushing it down and down, and I feel like my posts are just. I feel like, and I don't know how much experience you have writing on LinkedIn, but like I feel like just like the posts in general are not ranking to the top like they used to, and so I'm finding it a little more. I don't know. It's not. It doesn't have the same
It doesn't have the same level
smear
of
as it used
reach.
to. Yeah.
So the LinkedIn conspiracy theorists that I've kind of followed or listened to, they've said that the hack is post with a photo and don't put a link in it whatsoever. Because as soon as you're
Right.
linking out of
Right.
the platform,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
deprioritize you.
And
Yeah, I've noticed.
I've
Yeah,
tried
go ahead.
everything, and I've tried post in, post first comment, I've tried liking the comments, I've tried engaging with the comments, I've tried long, I've tried short. And honestly, in the past, it was like the more provocative you were, the more you stirred up conversation, the more
Mhm.
engagement you got. It was like, somewhat like X in that regard. But recently, I think it's been a lot more like not necessarily serving up timely content, but just timeless content. So like if something resonates with you, I'll get likes on something from 5 weeks ago. But if it still is something that people are interested in. So I don't know what the rhymes or reason are. I just know they're tinkering with it a lot, and it's kind of taking the wind out of my sails a little bit because I don't write on LinkedIn for engagement. I don't write on LinkedIn to get those likes, but I do write on LinkedIn because I do like the discourse. I like when people comment. I like when people you know, make me smarter. That I've had so many posts in the past where I've written stuff and someone will write a comment just shutting me down, and I'm like, you won. I want to redact what I said now. Like that was an amazing point, but I don't even feel like I'm getting that feedback loop anymore from LinkedIn. And that's what's frustrating as a writer. Cause like I don't write to just make sure everyone knows I'm right. I want the feedback. I want the feedback loop.
Yeah, it is a two-way street, and we seem to forget that. But what I'm gonna do to help you with that is On the screen right now, I'm posting
Let's
the
go.
URL to your LinkedIn profile. So if you want to hear more about what Danny has to say, definitely jump into that because I love your stuff. And we're going to get into like the most index and everything else, but I want to stay on obsessed media for a little bit more. You said that you and Barry weren't expecting to grow the team over the last year. It sounds like when you guys started, you would have been content with it just being the two of you. And you said that's not the case. You've expanded. So you guys started as a duo. How many people do you have in total now?
We have about 10 people total, which is
Jesus,
two.
that is a hell. Okay, that's awesome
Um,
growth.
we have 4 full time, and then we have some 4 freelance people that whether it be in specific specialty fields or whatnot. But yeah, we've grown a lot, and something I was thinking about as I was just thinking about this podcast and reflecting on the last year. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this was because I felt like at previous companies, the more I accelerated in my career, the less I was doing in the client work. And I
Mm,
love the work. I love it. I love being in the weeds. I love strategizing. I love being hand in hand with clients and talking about their problems and coming up with solutions. I love talking to the marketplace and finding interesting opportunities for our clients and making, matchmaking those worlds between amazing brands and amazing media brands. And I felt like as I kept growing in my career, and I might have said this last year too, that it felt like I was graduating out of my job into some
hmm
middleman that I didn't really want to do. And it was felt like almost like I was having my own retirement party at 35. That like I had to now work on the agency that I worked at. I had to now manage a lot of people and almost like transfer my special sauce um onto them and onto the rest of the company. And like I think without having a stake or having control over that company, it's a little like, well, my special sauce is my sauce and I want to be in the work and I want to be not necessarily managing these other people. I want to be doing the work. And so it was really rewarding for me when we started this company that Barry and I, and we still are to this day, I don't think there will ever be a time when Barry and I are not talking to clients or not doing the work with clients or not front and center on calls or not presenting recommendations, because we love the work and we think we add value when we are in the work. um, so when we first started the company, it was amazing to just, have our duo, which we were successful with in the past when we worked together, and now bringing it to clients for the first time from Obsessed Media. Um, but it was, it was amazing. As we scaled that, it was like, oh my God, we need help. And we need help in a variety of ways. We need help for people to push us. I think we definitely prioritize senior talent, and we're not going to pretend that we have all the answers. There's plenty of experienced and amazing people out there. So we've been lucky enough to bring people on both freelance and full time that have pushed us from a senior perspective. I also think on the other end of that spectrum, we brought in some amazing young talent that not only has like a natural knack for media just by being consumers and by being young and by being like having a finger on the pulse of the marketplace. Like we have an employee here who, for a client of ours, was like, "Look, this TV show is blowing up." It was actually Heated Rivalry. It was like, and this wasn't like January, like popped his head up, like, "Oh my God!" It was like, "No, I've talked to a lot of my friends. This is like mid December. Like this thing's a hit. Like we got to get in this for one of our brands." And we brought it to our brand and we were like, let's go. And we were able to surround it. And it was a really positive experience for that client. And so that's not from being someone in the industry for 10, 15 years. That's just from someone being really finger on the pulse of like what people are interested in. And so the other end of the spectrum has been hugely helpful to just keep us on our toes, bring new energy, and make sure that we had our finger on the pulse too on all the interesting media things going out there that a couple old farts like Barry and I maybe aren't as tuned into. So um, I think with this team that we're building here, the theme is the same. We want people who are obsessed with better media. We want people who think about media in a bit of a different way, but also want to add value to clients all the time. And so that's been really cool to see.